This fucker's getting shown real quick. A bicep. He's a big fucker, man. Show me your back. This fucker's back is ridiculous.
Damn.
So
the guy in middleweights too is blowing up too. All you guys are fucking.
Laza.
Yeah.
Brian. Yeah, he's a cool dude, man. From the East Coast.
Yeah. He's competed about as many times as you.
Honestly, I think Justin Compton is his coach.
Yeah, Justin did his prep, and Justin does his whole thing, his own thing too.
Yeah,
that guy's insane.
That guy's a freak.
Yeah, I mean, imagine him like a few years ago against Wolf or something.
Yeah, that's a kind of. I mean, it's depressing, but there's quite a few. I don't know if it's even a disproportionate number, but there are a few bodybuilders that kill themselves. Like, it's a like my aunt when I was first getting into it, she was so worried. I'm like, what the fuck does she care? Like, it's that big a deal. And then finally, one day, she finally came out. She's like, the only bodybuilder I ever knew, because she was a teacher. She's like, the only other bodybuilder I ever knew killed himself. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I guess he was like, some Mr. Arizona, just never anything really. But like, he killed himself. But, that said, it draws a certain, I think there's a draw to certain type of people too, like a percentage.
Yeah. Let's talk about that for a moment, then we'll officially start.
Yeah, cool. That sounds good.
Because I do think this attracts a certain psychological element. I don't speak for everyone, okay? Everybody's not a crazy fucker like me. But I'm saying, as far as bodybuilding, I think to be successful, you have to have that obsessive compulsive, just want it. I mean, look, Eric's eating this fucking Tupperware food right now. It's like 820, so he wants it, and it's just, you got to have that almost drive you really good in this, so you're so gifted, which is, really rare. So, I mean, and he's gifted too, he's really gifted too, but I mean, I could tell just without even asking questions, he's got that OCD type of nature. But he also comes from a sports background too, which if you're a top athlete, that's a big part of it as well. You got to have that drive.
Well, that's something I found interesting with Erik. Erik, you were a wrestler throughout. When did you start wrestling?
Honestly, I got a late start. I said my freshman year in high school.
Yeah.
Officially, I wasn't one of those kids. Yeah, I wasn't one of those kids. Wrestling at a young age. Mat rats or anything like that. I was just honestly, I played baseball, football.
How that process of going into college and getting and wrestling at the college level? How'd you get into that?
Well, honestly, so I started wrestling in high school, and then I was doing really well. Top ranked in my city, or my section, if you will. Qualified for state 2 times. So, I got some recognition there. Went to a couple camps in Bakersfield, out here in Bakersfield for Cal State Bakersfield Division I program. And, they showed some interest in me in my junior year. My senior year, I was supposed to do fairly well at state. I was kind of plagued by injuries a little bit. Ended up qualifying for state, but didn't really pan out, if you will. And then So they said, hey, we are interested in you. You have a lot of athletic potential. We can't offer you a scholarship at the moment, but we want to offer you a conditional walk-on. We'll get you all your classes. We'll get you a work grant, on school, on campus job and everything. Yeah. So that, they took care of me, and basically for pretty much there, man, I'm a workhorse. So I just started getting to work, and by my true sophomore year, I was able to crack the lineup, and then, now then money was pretty much brought to the table, and I was able to make a scholarship out of it, So,
and wrestling is one of the toughest sports you can do.
Definitely.
Any individual like that. Fuck. So,
well, especially California is an insane place as far as wrestling. Like, it's like a monster in itself. Like, it's everyone knows that. It's its own entity. So to even qualify for state, if people don't understand that, like, oh yeah, everyone qualifies in every state, but there's 50 states to qualify. California qualification is much, much different. It's another.
Yeah, and that, some states have 4 different state tournaments.
In Arizona, yeah, boom, exactly. In Arizona, there's 7 levels total with subdivisions and stuff like that. There's 7 state champions in each weight class.
Yeah,
so that's something about California. And then
we also do well at nationals too. When basically all the state champions and all the state ranked guys come together. We hang with the Midwest schools and
Yeah. All our guys are busy partying and they don't do well, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So how do you think, what was your dieting like back then for the wrestling? And then how would you compare that to your body? Like what types of foods and the macro setup? What differences would you notice?
Honestly, I say the biggest thing is just the consistency with the diet and the reverse dieting. The fact that I'm actually eating more to drop my body weight or to my body fat and to speed up that metabolism, stuff like that. You know, for wrestling, it was more ounces and pounds. So that's what I would shoot for. And the weight loss was a course of a week or, you know, a week and a half. So versus 12 weeks, 13 weeks. So basically I was eating for actual weight, not calories or macros or anything, if you will. It was just, okay, 16 ounces of water for tonight, you know, 8 ounces of chicken, you know, half a pound of pasta, that's 3 pounds altogether. We'll eat that, and I'll try to go for a 5-pound run, and I'll be, you know, 2 pounds lighter. You know, we just play it that way and just slowly start juggling it down, you know.
So it was still like I mean, it wasn't like a macro based, but it was still a proportion, like it was proportion based diet, you know, like you had ratios and stuff like that. So that makes sense. So yeah. What would you say about your body type at that time versus when you got into bodybuilding, like for real?
I mean, I'd always get like, I'd always be like the joke, pretty much like, you know, I do all the power movements for wrestling. I'm talking about the cleans, the jerks, the deadlifts, box jumps, but then for some reason my arms, my triceps, everything would blow up like like a bodybuilder.
It's a good problem to have.
And it shows you kids, you know, maybe you shouldn't do so much for arms. Erik was getting some sick.
Yeah.
You know, so. You
know, I already have shoulders and they're like, Martinez, like, okay, yeah, pretty boy muscle. They used to call me because, you know, us wrestlers were just, you know, rough around the edges and we get to it. So they'd be like, oh, Martinez with his pretty boy muscles.
You know who was insane? Is like, especially during his era in Pride and stuff, who was NCAA collegiate wrestler, is Kevin Randleman. Like,
yeah,
especially when he knocked out Crow Cop. That was so fucking sick. Like, I don't know if you ever seen that. It's just like, because everybody thought Crow Cop was just going to knock his ass out. Randleman usually slams your ass. Like, he's such a fucking freak too. His like veins coming in his like hamstrings. Because all the Hammer House guys would just like juice up and like wrestle with each other. They never learned any other skill set except for ground and pound. They went really far with it though. But Randleman, man, when he knocked his ass out, was like fucking so awesome. Like just seeing that fucker, like, boom. And then when he slammed Fedor,
oh yeah,
just way back, like and then I don't know how Fedor fucking recovered from that shit. I mean, this is way back, but that slam, dude, would have killed people. Like, I always thought Randleman was bad fucking ass because you see him like, he beat Rutan too back in the day, but they gave it to Boss Rutan because he looked like the fucking Octo man. And but Randleman, like, you could just tell, man, and his like vertical leap was so sick. Like, here's an athlete. And he's fucking he
wrestled and he was I'm looking at his pictures right now. He was a Buckeye. He was a call NCAA. Yeah. That's
what topped. You know, but that guy, he could, if he would have done bodybuilding, he would have been a great bodybuilder.
Oh, completely. You know? I'm looking at photos of him right now, and he basically looks like a freaking, in the MMA, you know, that's not, and you know what, that's interesting about MMA is that that's one of those things where I'm starting to notice a lot of kind of crossover, where it's kind of like guys decide, oh, I don't want to get concussions, I think I'll do bodybuilding, you know?
Well, it probably maybe attracts, and I talked to Justin Buckles, so he can vouch for this shit, because he's a pro MMA fighter, and he's fought in UFC and everything. And he said that, yeah, bodybuilders and fighters definitely attract the same fucking psychology type. It's like the feeling you need to like prove something and just like, and then like I said, I don't speak for everybody here, of course not, you know, but it's just.
Well, it's an extreme. I mean, it is an extreme sport in a sense. I mean, and it's a pageant sport at the same time, which makes it so unique.
Yeah, it's a little. My friends, they run that Muscle Week side, and they say it's a little Miss Sunshine pageant, you know, at the top level. But even besides all that, who gives a fuck, you know? The big push has been we need to make bodybuilding more mainstream. The Weeders, they just had this goal, the Olympics and stuff. But it's just like me and you're doing, and what I'm saying is like, let's embrace the fact that this is kind of underground stuff. And if we could kind of grow that segment, that's cool. Who cares about being accepted by the herd anyways, because they want to be fat and watch football and drink beer. So we're just doing our own thing. People don't understand it. I think that's cool, man.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is that back in the day when Ben Weider, he wrote a proclamation declaring the IFBB from the ABA, the AAU. That's what I mean. And that's when IFBB started, and he literally says in it that it's a muscle pageant, you know, which
it's funny. It's just like how you talk about how they go hand in hand. I mean, you play football, you play baseball. It's like I don't play wrestling. I just
wrestle. What? That's a really good point. That because I remember that in high school too. I did some amateur wrestling, and that was always the thing. Same thing with bodybuilding.
Bodybuilding, the fun lasts a couple seconds when you get your hand raised and you won your pro card, or you won a show, or you get that little trophy. Same thing for wrestling.
That big
a wrestling match is 6 minutes.
Yeah, think about the next one. What's after that?
Yeah, you're doing these crazy things just to like prove to yourself, basically. And there's like people are like so unappreciative, except for us that we know what's going on. It's just that's what's funny. And the AAU, here's an interesting tidbit. Mark told me this. Part of when you competed there, you had to like prove like athleticism is one of these like categories they had. They had a category for that. So like you'd go up and say, "Oh, well, I played basketball in high school," or whatever bullshit, And I don't think they really looked into it, but you had to prove like some of your athletic ability. So they're trying to move away from, I guess, be considered a pageant or look. This is so. But I say this is enough. We don't got to fucking prove any athletic ability.
No, physique. It's a physique sport, and that's what it should be. It shouldn't be. Donald Trump. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Donald Trump, but he made a point about his contest. Is he's like, yeah, the most beautiful women on the planet aren't also able to sing. Just statistically speaking, you're not going to be like you can't be that lucky. He says like, my contest is just about hot women. Like he just straight up says it, and it's kind of awesome. So.
At least I guess.
And then he bangs all of them. So it's a win for, everyone.
And that's what's sad. Like, so I went to a gym the other day, speaking of athleticism, and I saw the gymnast rings. They just added to this gym in town. I went to just do some cardio. I thought, I've always wanted to do the Iron Cross. Never tried. I'm going to do that shit today. I was all pumped up, listening to music. I'm like, I'm going to do the fucking Iron Cross. And I jumped up on a little box and I hopped on it. And it's like, oh, fuck. And the shit hurt so bad. And it's all... So my shoulder's going to dislocate, and I just dropped down.
How many weeks out are you right now? You don't want to be fucking around on Iron Crosses and shit.
Yeah, so I was just like, and then I was just fucking done, defeated, and I was just like, man, this sucks. But then I'm like, but I still want to do it, so I'm committed now to the Iron Cross. But I'm going to wait because it felt like I was going to
your show. Yeah, man, I would not be messing around with that shit.
Yeah, I was thinking it's probably kind of stupid now I think about it. But at the moment, it's just like, I'm going to do this.
YOLO.
Yeah, fuck.
Do a muscle up. Do a muscle up.
How sad would that be? Let me see some shit that happens to me, too. So.
Yeah, exactly. Nice. Exactly. Boom, boom, boom.
So thoughts on that. I'll go through my thoughts real quick. I'm a big fan of Dennis Wolf. He wasn't maybe the best guy on stage, but he's got a pretty physique, man. He's got beautiful, small waist, broad shoulders and everything. Triceps look non-existent at that. And of course, putting him against those. But also, of course, it's me and Eric we're talking about.
Sean Roden.
Sean Roden, yeah. He looked beautiful.
I would say that Kai and Phil were both 95%. But Sean Roden was the best probably we've ever seen him, I think. And then and same with Dennis Wolf. I think Dennis Wolf looked. And side note about Dennis Wolf,
a shredded guy there almost.
Oh, it was. Besides maybe his arms being a little flat, which I could kind of give a shit less. That was the best we've seen him. But what I've never seen from Dennis before, which was really cool, was in the next week he won the European Arnold. And the fact is, Dennis rarely has gotten two shows like even a week apart. He's shown up the next week and just looked completely off. And so now you're thinking, he nailed it at the Arnold. He nailed it at the Arnold earlier this year. He nailed it because he won that too, right? Or he did?
Yeah, he's Sean Roden.
You got to manage the mentality of someone like Wolf. His life's on track. He's got this good sponsor. He's making decent money. He's on a fucking roll.
Got a rich wife.
Got a rich wife, and then you got
Google image her. I'm not that mean, but
so it's like this fucker is like. You bet that guy is driven. Like, he's laser focused.
And you know what? Here's the thing about him, too, is that no one's ever been like, oh, Dennis Wolf, that asshole. Like, I've never heard a bad thing from someone. Everyone I've talked to about him has been like, he's cool as fuck. He likes to eat ice cream. Like, I know people who've worked very closely with him pre-contest, and like he jokes about like, hey, bring the ice cream for my prep, you know, like a day as he's getting ready for the Olympia, like a day out, you know. So
yeah, well, I could imagine why some guys might get pegged as an asshole too, because I imagine how many weird people you'd meet at like one of these expos or something, and just okay, even if you got to build like and people know you, it's like you get all these questions every day. I do on my phone. Hey, are sweet potatoes a carb? It's like fuck, man. Use Google and type that shit in, because bottom line, you ain't fucking paying me. I helped you out before, so fuck you. You can. Well, I don't say fuck you. I take a step back. That's what I want to say, because it's like, I mean, you can access information, right, buddy? And why should I have to work Siri for you? And yeah, you know what I'm saying? Look it up yourself. You think I just like ask somebody all this shit? No. I mean,
something that basic too, you know, like that was, I took a nutrition class in college, and it was maybe in some ways the most worthless things, because it doesn't like it's just like more corn, but what it was good at was that it laid out what everything is and what it like, what vitamins are how, you know.
Elementary shit.
Elementary shit. Exactly. Elementary shit. But also, all that shit was on Google. All of it. You know? Yeah. Most of everything I learned in college was on Google, quite honestly. That's how I got through it. But
it's so funny, too. I bet Eric gets all the time, like, I'm sure, you know how people are, and they hate, like, oh, I never want to be that big, or whatever. And, you know, Arnold say, well, never will. And what I think it's funny is, like, you know what? These fuckers not only never will they couldn't, because they don't have the responsibility and discipline to hold into that muscle. No. I mean, they blow it like right away. And it's like they don't have that mentality.
No,
it's like what? They're too busy criticizing other people. You know, it's like I don't go around. Oh, that person's skinny and they got a weird body. That person has a pear-shaped body. It's like who gives a fuck? Everybody has a right to have their body look however we do, and we consider this an art. You know.
Exactly.
That's how Sean Ray calls it.
Eric, what would you switching subjects real quick? What would you say? How big of how was the transfer from college wrestling to bodybuilding? Like, how'd you make that step into bodybuilding, and how has the transition kind of been for you?
I mean, bodybuilding has always been like a part of my life. You know, working out, like going, learning to work out, going to the gym. You know, my dad. He worked out and stuff like that, and he trained alongside a lot of bodybuilders, especially up north with like Paul Love and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys are familiar.
Yeah, he had a sick physique.
Yeah, Larry Estrada and all those guys, Mr. California out there. So he never competed, but he trained like a bodybuilder. So as I was getting ready for high school for wrestling and things like that, let's be honest, he trained me like a bodybuilder.
Yeah, exactly.
Incline, flat bench, decline and some dips. We're going to do all the staple stuff for back. We're going to do pull-ups, lat pull-down, seated cable rows. So I guess we're in the set numbers, 4 sets, 3 sets, 12 reps. I wasn't just throwing weight around, so I've always worked out towards that. And it was always something that I wanted to do. Exactly. Whether I was going to become a bodybuilder or not, that's the type of physique I wanted to emulate. Like I wanted to make sure I had legs.
Exactly.
I want
so many people don't
my
have
chest.
Them,
I wanted shoulders. I wanted
and that's what I've noticed. I've noticed too is that a lot of guys, they just want to compete as soon as possible, and versus the guys that if you have that mentality, it doesn't go away. And so a guy like you or a guy like Brian, I can't ever pronounce his last name. Right? There you go. He's been doing it. He had an injury which stopped him. And we're going to do an article on that. But he was just a guy in college, and he was just you just live the lifestyle. Evan Centopani was the same way. Evan Centopani, there's a reason he won his first regional contest. He won junior, I think, his first time doing it, and he got second at nationals and turned pro his second time doing it. You beat that record already, which is kind of nuts, but and also a good thing. That's a good track to be on. But I mean, that's it. Is that so many people think like, oh, I gotta compete. No, if you have what it takes, it'll come.
Yeah. That's you mentioned Evan Centopani. I actually seen a video, and I kind of do. I give the same approach, and I steal it from him pretty much. People ask me, hey man, you think I'm ready to compete? Well, I mean, to be honest, I can't answer that question for you.
Yeah.
Number one, you got to treat it as number one. It's like we talked about it's an artwork, So basically, you spend your hours in the gym, you're working on your masterpiece. So whenever you're ready to unveil your masterpiece or your hard work and basically showcase that hard work, then that's honestly when you're ready to compete. So I can't tell you, you'll be ready in a year, you're ready now.
Yeah.
It's a personal question. When are you ready to show everyone what you've been working on?
And if you're really good and you're cut out for this, it's not you're going to be asking, should I compete? People will be telling you, hey guy, like an older guy at the gym. That's what always fucking happens. If some older bodybuilder at the gym kind of pulls you aside, you're getting pretty big. It's like, he's like, have you thought about competing? You've got a really nice, and then you're like, well, I don't want to, wear little panties on stage and do all this. And then after a while, they convince you of it, and all of a sudden you're fucking.
And it takes off.
I mean, that's basically how it works, doesn't it? Like 90% of the time. So.
Yeah.
And then.
Definitely.
So that's right. You just never give up. If you're going to college, whatever you're doing, even through my shittiest times, I never gave up on it. Even though I didn't compete or anything, I still got my protein, my workouts in. I mean, you know how many times I've missed a workout over the past 10 years? More than a week. A couple, like one time I broke my collarbone, so I had to work out for a couple of months. Stuff like that. And usually come back better is the fucked up thing. And now I'm thinking, well, maybe I'm doing too much, like training. Because it seems like when I do less and I rest more, I get bigger. What a novel concept. So I think after this.
Well, that was something that when I worked. Now I'm more like, okay, John Meadows has like most of his people go 7 days a week. But then working with and the reasoning, if you set up your workouts properly, it kind of does work out. Like if you rotate so that
I guess if you do one body part a day.
Like exactly. And you do them in the right order so that things have time to recover in a certain order. The problem is eventually I think no matter what, you're going to burn something out. Like your nervous system's going to get burnt out, or you just get like your shoulders, for example. That was the issue I noticed is that I was just getting all these little, they don't have time to recover. Your shoulders are getting used basically every day somehow, and so that was the issue. But when I worked with Dusty, that was one of the things that was kind of cool was that their idea is that if you're training like so fucking heavy that like you're in that much of a physical debt, you can afford to take a day off every third day. You can afford to take off at least one or two. And sometimes you do crazy shit where after like a few months of like really hard training, we might go a whole week where I didn't, and I'd never done that before, and I was so hesitant to it. But it's just one of those things where when you do that, it allows you to. You have to. You have to.
Otherwise, you're going to get sick if you do it anyways.
Yeah. Exactly. Mentally, even.
You need that rest. It's crucial. Especially if you're, off season's a little bit different, obviously, when your calories are high, you're taking the right supplements and stuff, and you're actually able to, you're able to get that rest and stuff like that. But, some of these young kids, they come up to me, they're like, hey, man, I'm doing double days today. I'm like, jeez. If you train the way I train, you're spent after an hour and 10 minutes into the workout.
When someone shows off to me that they're doing 2 days, I'm immediately,
And you know what's crazy about this town, too, me and Erik were talking, it's like these kids come up to you and ask you questions about, like, fucking illegal substances right in the fucking gym and want to have this dialogue on you you. And they're like, I'm taking a trend, this and this. And it's like they just fucking bought the membership to the gym, and you're thinking, like, what the fuck is going on here? It's like, that's another thing, too, not to get that subject. But if I were to take those things, that kind of started with, I didn't even know about them. You work out for years, and you're like, then you're making good gains because it's like beginner's gains. Like, it's going to be no time before I look like that fucker. And you look at, like, someone in the magazine, like whoever, Gunther just probably had times like, I'm going to look like that. And then, kind of slows down after a few years and like, oh, I'm not making those gains. Then after a while, then you kind of like discover, maybe someone's like, well, there's these things that people take. But now with the information age, it's like so out there. In this town, though, it's crazy, though, because these kids just come up to you, hey, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, fuck, dude. Like, come on, man, I don't even know you. It's like,
yeah, I have to agree with you on that.
That's so weird. And he's,
growing up, especially as a Division I wrestler, it's like, dude, you're taking pre-workout? Like, dude, we're going to get tested, dude. What are you doing? I'm being honest.
No, completely. I remember people in high school legitimately freak out over creatine. They're like, how's this work?
And that's the most important thing you do in bodybuilding is build that foundation first. Eric did it. You look at the results. You build that natural foundation first, and then at a later time, if it's right for you and if your country allows it, you can do these different okay? But build that foundation first, because someday you might not have anything or whatever's going to happen, and you're always going to revert back to that foundation.
Well,
maybe a little more.
Something I've noticed a lot lately too is that there's a few guys that are coming up and they're still amateurs, but they're moving into the national level now. But they were former natural pros, and then when they transitioned, they were good natural pros. And they're natural now because when they went to the I shouldn't say this. They were natural when they were that good because they're so fucking big now, and they're still bringing that same type of condition. We did an interview with one Jason, I can't remember, Janov, and he won the Pittsburgh heavyweights, which is basically that's Mannion's contest, and the guy now, and that like the Mannions, I think they love him. Like they've featured him a whole bunch now. He's done. Politically, he's well, because winning that show is a pretty big NPC wise. Besides the East Coast and West Coast shows, that's probably like the biggest, contest. And he's probably 300 pounds right now, getting ready for heavyweights next year for super heavyweights for nationals. And he's a freak. And there's another guy, Dorian Hamilton, who won the junior nationals this year, and he got like 8th at USA's, but he was the same thing. He was an OCB guy. He was really good as an OCB guy. And then you make the jump and you have a clue, And then, boom, you're better off for it.
And actually, I'll touch on one thing, then we'll get in. I want to talk to Eric about some of, this prep for the USAs and stuff.
Cool.
He's an IFBB Pro in the house here.
We'll have to record an intro later, by the way, but we'll worry about that.
Himself. I see you get a bunch of cats now. And prepare to die. So, no, but anyways, what I was thinking is so often in bodybuilding we talk about genetics. So this guy's right. Yeah, you're seeing a guy that has good at genetics, competing in bodybuilding. But I've seen some real fucking freaks out there. I think like we're not attracting this like maybe the best freaks, whatever. But so I worked for 4 years, more than that, as a CO up in Alaska, and you see some really like freaky physiques every once in a while, especially guys maybe been in there a while. But there's this one guy that came in, I remember, and it's so fucking funny now I think about it. His name was his name was Murray, right? And I walked by, I was doing a security check, and I walked by his cell at like 3 a.m. and I see this ripped fucker, and he's this old ass white dude. And he's like shredded to the bone, like you can see the brachialis, and there's like the serratus and shit. It's like contest stage ready. And I was looking at him like, what the fuck is this guy doing? He's doing these weird like, stretches and poses. And he looks out the cell. It's like, hey, can I go up to the kitchen now? Like he worked in the kitchen. I said, no, you can't go up to the kitchen, man. It's like 3 a.m. No one's up there right now. It's like, well, I'm just ready to work hard. And I was like, fuck, man, you can't go to the fucking kitchen. And he's like pissing me off. And it's like, man, I was kind of upset. And then he tells this other SEAL there, yeah, me and Church are going to spar and all this. And he starts telling me these stuff. And I'm looking at this fucker. I'm serious. He's my height and he's like 180, but he's completely shredded to the bone. And I asked him about his life. And he says, well, I'm a brick mason. I own this company and stuff. So, okay, there's one thing. So he's obviously getting a lot of work. His muscles as a fucking brick mason for years. But he says he's a martial artist. And I was thinking, okay, because a lot of these guys like lie and shit. So he's like, yeah, I sparred with Bruce Lee, but he was just a hair faster. Like,
okay.
It's just like, okay. And he's telling the other guy, yeah, me and Church are going to spar. And I was like, yeah, fucking bring it. I don't care. But, just joking and stuff. I was thinking, I'm glad, I didn't really say that because this guy would have fucking whooped my ass. Because it turns out he was this badass martial artist. And he did train at Bruce Lee's dojo.
No fucking way.
Yeah, a trooper was telling me. And I was like, what the fuck? But I was just looking at this guy. If you saw this guy, you're just like, how? And then people would mock him kind of in jail. I'd be like, muscle man, and do that. And he didn't know. The only exercise he would do, I saw him, was just like stretching and just like holding these like tantric poses. So I guess in a way he kind of like flexed all the time.
Yeah. No, well, that's part of that dog crap training, but the shit Dusty had me do. That was something he had me do. Was the value of stretching, because think about how gymnasts, the way they train is that they train every single part of a range of motion.
And I think the tension too, because we all know if you're posing a lot, regardless of all the other stuff you're doing with diet and everything else, your muscles do get harder and they do get more defined. It's like it brings out a certain quality to them. Like that gets you more ripped than almost anything. If you're doing a lot of posing, if you're doing hard,
just proper activation. Like look at Ben's stage pics. Everyone's like, "Oh, look at how flat his chest is." Well, okay, look, in a most muscular, yeah, his chest looks flat because he didn't activate it. But he's hitting a lot. I looked at his lat spread shots, and his chest is just striated like side to side, like, and you just see like it's just he just doesn't. He's not. I mean, we're working the rust off now, you know. But like little posing, little things like that can make a huge difference. Just knowing how to activate the muscle properly.
I saw him when he turned pro at USA. So I was at that show, and he looked fucking phenomenal, and I just knew he was something special because his like triceps and shit were so.
Well, that's it. Is man, for that guy has had.
Too, and he's strong as hell. He's like a Chuck Sipes. He's like modern day Chuck Sipes.
I wasn't gonna, when you were telling that story later, I wasn't gonna make that comparison. But he did, the year he won what was it? The Tampa. Originally he won the Tampa 2010. He also did fucking, thanks to the expert fucking advice of, I think it was Dave, they set up World's Strongest Bodybuilder. So instead of doing the Olympia that year and just, you know, he probably wouldn't have done well, you know, because it was a stacked Olympia. But, like, you still do it. Instead, he did that shit, and he tore his pec slightly. He had a minor tech tear from raw bench pressing, like, I know it was at least 500. It might have been even 600 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And so here's the thing about him, too, is that guy, he won that show in 2010, and then he's had zero resources since then. So, like, if you think about, like, if Dave Palumbo had actually stayed with him, like, oh my God! Because I've seen what he did in 6 weeks, going into from looking like dog shit in Orlando to Tampa, fucking hanging with the top bodybuilders in the planet.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
scary.
I noticed I never really finish a point sometimes. But my point was
sorry.
No, it's okay. We go off on all these things, and that's cool. But my point was like, some of the best genetics you'll never see it. Fucking compete in bodybuilding, they're locked in prison, or it's some farm boy in Iowa.
Or they're in the NFL.
But now look at NFL. Exactly, they're playing real sports. But check out this. You want to see a genetic freak, and Icelanders are one of the fucking freakiest people on the planet because they're the strongest motherfuckers on the planet. Type in John Paul Sigmarsson, the Icelandic. He actually died fucking deadlifting, and I know it's fucking. He is like fucking hanging out in Iron Valhalla. He is like the main man when you go there because he died saying there's no hall for John Paul because that's what he do. It's like lifting 100 pounds where. But this fucker, he competed and won the world's strongest man. At the same time, he competed in a bodybuilding competition. And he was shredded to the fucking bone before Pujanowski and all these. And he had a great physique, too. And he, like, endorsed his own company of yogurt and all this shit. He's, like, a strong man. He's, like, in the Dancing with the Stars, our country. He's, like, a hero. You know, they all – but, I mean, consistently the world's strongest people are from Iceland. They've got stones there that goes back to, 1,000 years ago. And it's, like, blah, blah, lifted this stone. And it, like, weighs, like, 1,200. So now look at that guy and you think I'd like to be like that. Fuck, I wish I was like, lifting 800 pounds and getting shredded and putting out yogurt.
Well, there's something to be said for a guy that can actually fucking Eric could probably fuck someone up. And that's the thing about most guys with muscle muscle you assume, he can't, he's probably slowed down, but he can apply it, he can apply all that.
Too, you jog around. It shows him he takes his bicycle in this highlight video some post, and he twists it up and fucking throws it out. Like he crunches up the bicycle.
Well, I mean, look at Brock Lesnar, man. Brock Lesnar is just like, that's a dude who like just went into MMA kind of for shits and giggles, and like was just like, bah, like.
Yeah. I don't like that fucker. Someone that's with. But Scott McAfee, if you're watching this shit, he's like, oh yeah, especially when you have a beard and shit, you guys look just like you. It's like no, we don't, man. I'm like 3 feet tall. He's like 10 feet tall. And,
dude, Brock Lesnar makes look. I went to ASU wrestling camp in with Cain Velasquez, and Cain is a huge motherfucker. Like Cain is huge. He's a heavyweight champion right now. Yeah. He's huge. Brock Lesnar made him look small in their match. Like, he made him look like... And he won. Kane won, which was insane. But, like, Brock Lesnar's just, like, on another level. And you know how geared up Frank Mir got after their first fight? After Brock Lesnar came out? Like, Frank Mir, like, doubled in size. He still lost, but, like, just insane. Brock Lesnar came out, and people were just like, what the fuck? Like...
That's why I like the old Pride fights. So, like I said, when they weren't tested, there's this one fight. Mark Coleman came out to Randleman's training partner.
Mark Coleman's huge.
You know, he's like this particular fight too. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, what is this guy taking? He must have been on like 20 IU's of growth or something.
That was like,
and he just comes out. He's like, rah! It's like, holy shit.
Well, it's in the contract. It was in the contract for Pride. They're like, yeah, you know. By the way, we don't test for steroids. That was underneath, like.
Well, yeah, so, and then that's like.
Meaning use them.
Yeah, like Vanderlei was this like unstoppable force back then too.
All those Brazilian guys.
Oh, and he was so like
Vitor Belfort.
And let's face it, are they not on it now? They're on less, I think, or different. You know, but you know it's. But back then, if it's untested 100%, woo.
Oh yeah, I'd be.
They still get caught.
I'd be popping fucking check pops and. Halo and all sorts of shit.
Well, that was something interesting. A point someone made about Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather was that one of the terms of them not fighting was that Floyd Mayweather insisted on a drug test the day before. Manny Pacquiao said, "I'll take a drug test, but I don't want it to be a blood test because it'll affect my fighting. I will take a test 30 days before, though." And what Floyd was saying, what the article was saying was that. If you really think about what's probably going on in that situation, the drugs in America and like what we have accessible and like the science, a day, boom, nothing, you know. But over there to pass the drug test, he probably doesn't have they're literally probably 10 years behind on that shit.
You know what? I don't even think. But he got more insane too. Mayweather wanted him to test the day of the fight and then all this shit. I mean, it was a big drawn out thing. You know, bottom line is this. I mean. I'm a boxing historian. I love boxing. It's my first passion. And the deal is Floyd is the best cherry picker in the sport. He's an incredible boxer. I don't take anything away from him. I think he would probably be Manny.
I think he would.
But it never happened. I mean,
man, imagine that fight. Like, remember how big that was? Like, just 3 years ago, being like, if you thought.
What's just about boxing is it never fucking happened. It's like so depressing. It's this great fight that never happened. And
even if it was the death of boxing, even if that was like the final fucking, what a note to go out on, you know? Like, instead of just fucking.
On that fight, I was just like, man, this sucks. I gave up even. But now, okay, if Mayweather faced someone like Golovkin, this fucking powerhouse, I think. All his wins except for one a knockout. He's from one of those Eastern Bloc countries. You know, that fucker is bad. And there's no reason for Mayweather to fight him. It's not going to be a huge money draw or anything, and just he won't do it. But that guy would take him out. And I found Sergio Martinez too, where they're going to be at this catchweight. That time, Sergio Martinez might have been able to take him out. Manny, I don't know. Who knows? You know, you just never know what can happen with these things. At one time, Pacquiao too. He's an unstoppable force. Even the first time I remember watching, he fought Marco Antonio Barrera, and Barrera is known for his 3-fight trilogy with Erik Morales. Actually, there's more than that. Now it's like fucking at least 4, I believe. But, you know, his fights were insane. But Pacquiao went and he destroyed Barrera. And I remember the commentator saying, that's never happened to Marco Antonio Barrera before. And I was like, fuck, I knew that I was seeing something really special.
Yeah. And then he had those losses, which were so like, oh.
But here's one sport I don't think that steroids are really that like helpful to you, unless you're like a heavyweight. Weight's not an issue, but basically,
I don't know, man. I think it's. I don't think. Okay, yeah, we have this conversation before. Yeah, they're not taking bodybuilding dosages. They're not getting ready for like nationals here.
Like HGH and something like that, regenerative and repair.
Look, wrestling in college. Not saying, but can't you imagine there'd be guys taking? I know in high school we had a bunch of fucking people, like not on my team, but on the other. I know kids that went to that school, and there was kids in high school. They had no clue what they were doing, but they were taking testosterone and shit. Like they were like,
honestly, man. I mean, when you think about that, there are performance enhancers. So it's just knowing what to take, the right compound for the job.
So many,
sprinters take it. I mean,
exactly.
What I think is like, what's so funny too, not funny, but these guys always get popped all the time and all that shit's like, how does that fucking happen? You not have someone correctly, or like they always get popped with Nandrol, which is funny. Like Sean Schick was all in court over the shit, and it was in a supplement and all this. But it's like, you know what? Why would you even take something?
Josh Barnett got caught with Masterone or some Master, however you pronounce it.
Because Masteron's still in your system for a couple weeks, maybe.
Yeah, it's like why would you even?
It's like only like 2 weeks. So it's like these fuckers are kind of stupid because they don't really. I mean, think about it. This is your livelihood. You know, you got to take something to all these other guys. You got to make sure you're not fucking that shit up.
Brian Cushing got caught with HCG, which is like not even. He didn't get caught with anything. He got caught with an auxiliary, and HCG is a short thing. So you're like, wait, did he inject it that morning? Like, how the hell did you get?
He used as a masking agent too. That's the thing.
As a masking agent?
That's what I've read before. Yeah. I'll have to look back and validate that. I'm not pointing my ass, so I have read that.
That would make sense. I could see there being some use for that.
Okay. Well, let's scratch that. Let's, like I said, Erik's now an IFBB Pro. Let's talk about your journey from the first competition to your pro card. It's not too long.
Well, you know, back to like what you were saying as far as like the whole bodybuilding route, you know, it's something that I always wanted to do. I just didn't know that it was going to happen so fast, you know, because I too had an injury, you know, wrestling in college. I tore my rotator cuff, my AC joint, and my labrum. So, you know, my shoulder's messed up.
It hurts to even do a curl.
Oh, heck yeah. So, you know,
I had the same
deep
deal.
in your bicep. So I had the surgery had to be done, you know. So I had it done in January, late January, and I started working at a gym as a personal trainer, you know. So not to sound like an asshole or anything, but I was working at the gym, right? And then, you know, there's other trainers, and they're like, yeah, you know, I'm getting ready for a show too. I'm 8 weeks out, 15 weeks out. I'm like, this guy, I know I can do it.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, they're my friends. You know, God bless them. I'm not here to brag, but I was just like, that's just the type of person I am, super competitive. So I'm like, man, if this guy can do it, I know I can do it too. So
man, I was the same way. I know that shit. So,
so you know, so working out of the gym. So, you know, free membership pretty much, you know. So I started working out there, and then down the street there's a local supplement store, you know, local business. So I used to go in there, you know, talk to the guys and stuff. And, you know, one of the guys, Erik Martinez, he's another young kid. My coach is actually a year younger than me. He's 23.
Oh, shit.
So, yeah, but the guy's, he's brilliant, though. He's super smart.
Yeah, well, apparently it worked. Shit.
Yeah, so we have a good little connection. So, you know, I was talking to him. You know, he was thinking about prepping, or, you know, starting a little team, like a small team. You know, and I was like, you know, honestly, it's something I want to do. And so, after my surgery, we got the ball rolling. You know, I started my rehab. You know, my muscle therapy, stuff like that, stem work, everything that works, and started lifting. And my body started responding really well. I started growing really fast again, and I said, you know, realistically, when's the last show? Like, when's the last show of the year? And the last show was in December, the Excalibur. So that's what I was going to do. I was going to do the Excalibur. So I started getting ready for the Excalibur, did a little bit of bulk. You know, I think probably got up to about maybe 195 pounds. And then we basically started bringing it back down, recomp the diet, clean it up a little bit, and started getting ready. And then I started looking really good and getting in shape really fast because it was only about 7 months out of wrestling season since I retired from wrestling. So my body was still responding really fast as soon as I started, you know, with cardio and everything like that. So I got in shape really fast. And then, you know, I was like, hey, is there any way we could do a pre-show just as a warm-up? It's my first time. I was like, you know, Excalibur's a really big show. I was like, oh, I know I could do well, but let's just get my posing down, my routine down. So we ended up doing the Ironman Games, which is what Dan's going to do in November. So I did that show, and I won the novice and the novice overall, and I won the open, and then I almost won the open overall, but I lost 1 point to the super heavyweight.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, so I mean, he's a lot bigger,
but it's still sick, you know.
Yeah. So, and from there it just took off, and it was something I wanted to do, and I was still prepping for the Excalibur because that was the main one. I wanted to win the middleweights at the Excalibur, and then for some reason it got filled up like a week after the November show. Like it got booked out like a month in advance.
Wait, the Excalibur did?
Yes, they shut it down. They only allowed 2 competitors. And there was probably about
I'm going to
20
plead the fifth on this one, and I'm not going to get myself in any trouble because I'll just throw this out there. John Lindsay's not huge. He won't hear this. John Lindsay is not a huge fan of me, but or maybe now he just doesn't know who I am, which I'm happy with that too. But yeah, that doesn't surprise. I mean, it does surprise me. That's so shitty. That's so. I will say that is fucking dog shit that you would do that. Like.
For this thing, and you want it so bad because you.
Oh yeah, so, hey, you know what though? The 400 bikini competitors, they dyed it too, guys. Okay.
Or the physique.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what the fuck, man?
So, anyways, but hey, it all worked out for a reason,
right? I guess.
So then, everyone else, that I figured out, I didn't get in, and immediately, everyone else started texting me. The guys that were in my corner there said, "Hey, let's start bulking up. Let's start, clean bulk. Let's start growing. Let's get ready for nationals next year. We think you could do well at nationals." So I was like, all right, well, I want to do USAs. That was the main one. So I started training for getting ready for USAs, and I had my bulk, and then, kept everything clean. This time I probably got up to about 215 for my off season. Wasn't as good as I'm sitting now, but, kept it fairly clean, and then started getting ready for USAs. And then, like I said, that was USA was going to be my second show. I'm from San Jose, California, and Mr. Love had his show out there, the San Jose Classic or whatever. He ended up selling it, but that's still, he still goes there. It's his venue and stuff. So I decided to do that show. I have friends, family, things out there, and they've never seen me compete. They're like, man, this guy's, every time I call him, he's either doing cardio,
what's this
chicken,
all about,
He's in the gym, he's in, I'm sending my mom pictures to send my dad because my dad has an old school flip phone. Like,
this is what I'm doing, by the way.
Yeah. So I sent it to my mom's iPad, so it's a decent sized picture. Like, man, this kid's getting big. Like, what is he doing, So they never see me compete. So I ended up doing the San Jose show. And I was 2 weeks out from USA. So we didn't deplete water. We actually, my coach is pretty smart. We actually cut carbs completely out, and we used that to flatten out and use that whole week as a refeed. But he didn't end up telling me that. So that Friday night, normally we might want to carb up, maybe have a burger or something like that. Nothing. I had no carbs. So even went on stage flat. Yeah. That day we still kept it clean.
That's a dangerous experiment, man.
Yeah, rice cakes. And then, because we just want to get that water down. We didn't deplete any water or anything. He had me drink a gallon of water that morning before he even got on stage. Mm-hmm. And then, so I ended up placing fourth. Was I fourth? I probably was a little bit better than fourth, but we won't get into that. I wasn't good enough to win the show, though. I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah.
And that was in middleweights? Yeah,
I came in. It was a huge middleweight, so I came in at about 168.
Gotcha.
And the cutoff was 53 to 76. Man, it was wide.
Yeah.
The class.
Yeah.
So I ended up taking fourth that show, and then, I wasn't bummed out or anything. I knew that wasn't my show, and I knew we had a plan. We had a focus. So after that show, he gave me all day Saturday, the rest of that night, and then all day Sunday to eat everything I wanted. So basically, I used those as that whole day. And on Monday, you
wake up just like, what the fuck?
I think on Monday I stepped on the scale at 192.
No, God.
Oh, shit, we had some work to do.
Oh,
so yes, we got back on the grind, cardio. But the weight came off real fast. It was all just water, sodium, and stuff.
Yeah, overnight you're not gonna. Over 2 days, I mean, it could do damage, but not really. You're not gonna fuck up your whole.
No. And we kept it clean. Like,
you needed it, probably.
Yeah, like I said, I got some burgers in me, some fries and stuff like that from Red Robin's, and then I didn't have no ice. I didn't have any dairy. That's the only thing he told me to stay away from. He's like, just stay away from dairy. So pretty much got all the carbs in and stuff like that, and then we started bringing it back down. And then that final week, we changed everything for the USA because it's a 3-day show. So like I said, we kept everything nice and high, and then we made weight that day, and I actually pounded 2 gallons of water before that, before we started dropping the water later that day. Because I think we checked in at weigh-ins at like noon. like right when it started.
Thursday?
So I had the yeah,
Gotcha.
Thursday, and because Friday was prejudging. So then we cut off my water probably around 6 p.m., 7 p.m. I can't remember quite, and then started pulling the water out, getting ready for because we didn't step on stage till about noon or something like that. So it might have been even later, maybe 9 p.m. is when we cut my water out. I'm not sure. And pretty much ate around the clock that night. We kept some red meat in, and we used sweet potato or white rice. I'm sorry, to carb up. We used rice to carb up a little bit, and then we kept it clean, man, with just rice cakes and peanut butter, rice cakes and fats and stuff like that. Eating around the clock and basically shuttling my food was the main thing because I was still drying out and hardening up as the night went on, because I had kind of a little bit of a late start, and then just posing after every meal, every 2 hours, pretty much just posing, going through my mandatories, posing, trying to dry out as much as I can, harden up, and bring in, the tightness, and then pretty much step on stage. We got a good prejudging, got a good spot, and then, I just try to turn off all my cell phone, my, Flex Magazine, Martinez, possible 1 or 2. People are texting me, hey, man, you looking good. I think Don Long even came up to me after, was like, hey, man, I think you did well. You look good. You're in a good spot. I think you have him beat. And, a couple other guys were talking to me. I even ran into Marco Rivera out there.
Oh, that's
cool. He went to go watch. Yeah, so, he was out there. He told me I looked good, that I was in a good spot. And so I kind of just wanted to forget all that, and like I said, we kept it clean. We didn't do
Yeah. You almost don't want to talk to
No. I still kept my water down. I sipped maybe on 16 ounces that day.
Yeah.
Still want to keep it down. I didn't want to try to pull water again, that day. So I just kept it down, and then, like I said.
Well, that's the thing about the USAs, too, that happened this year was that in the middleweights, my buddy Charles, when your weight, because I was at USA's, when your weight class, when they went to announce your weight class, they said, and like all you guys are on stage, they said, in 5th place, Charles Curtis. And Charles was in middleweights, and he placed in 5th place, and that was before they went out on stage for the night show. So
that's
so for I'm just throwing it out there.
Good.
Yeah,
I know. He's a cool dude.
I won't know.
He looked good.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there specifically. I mean, I've heard stuff, but he looked good. He looked good, but you know what? The fact is, I don't think they give a shit about the night showing. I mean, I think if you lay a turd on the stage and you disrespect them, yeah, okay, you might.
Yeah.
But like, they weren't on stage yet. Middleweights hadn't been on stage yet. 5th place, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
So just keep that out there, bodybuilders. If you're going to kill yourself for the next day, I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for my weight, it was just I feel like it was kind of close. Like I looked good in a lot of the shots. Just some shots you could just tell. Like I'm not as thick as I should be.
You had the most balanced physique of definitely. Javon had a bigger, because I know Javon. Javon had maybe a more developed and genetic back. But you had a good back. It's not like your back's bad at all. And then on top of that, your legs are really well developed, and Javon's legs are kind of they're not shapely enough yet, although he's bringing them up a lot. And so it was like, I could completely see why they would go. And it's not like anyone had you on condition either. That class wasn't, it wasn't the sharp. It's not like, so
yeah.
I could.
It's a fairly new class, isn't it? It's kind of new.
Well, it's new to getting a pro card for one thing, And so what's happening is now you have a rotation kind of in there. And so now we're seeing some guys that are finally, because what would happen is you'd have these contests and you'd have some guy who'd get second fucking 3 years in a row and just not get lucky, and then, it would be this, or he'd do USAs and then he wouldn't get the card. And so it was just very stagnant versus now we're seeing a turnover. And
how many times did he get his card? He's like kept competing at the USAs and stuff.
Which for some guys I can kind of, I mean, look, clearly paid off for Jose, but like really, like I don't know. The problem is just that 212 it is competitive. People like to shit on it, but the way it is now is like it's competitive.
Especially those guys carry so much muscle too.
Because David Henry, he's probably 200 pounds on stage, but he may, but last year, let's think about last year's David Henry, because this year, but I remember seeing David last year, and the dude was just like, I've seen David like kind of my whole like bodybuilding career because he's lives in my city, but like, man, like I've seen Charles Curtis. Charles Curtis is a middleweight, and he's probably at one point he won North American, so he's arguably the best middleweight on the planet at one point. And then you see that he was working out, right? And then you have Marte Ruelas, is that how you pronounce his last name? Who is an IFBB Pro who won, I think it was your weight class the year prior at Nationals. Or no, he got second, but he got the card because it was Nationals. And then you see David Henry working out, and you're just like, oh yeah, there's levels. Like there's levels. Like there's the best in the nation, and there's the best on the planet. Like,
well, I see,
yeah,
I see pictures of that guy's back like before, and it's like, who is that? And it's like so like freakish. I'm like, what is it? And it's David Henry.
Well, it's like honestly, I mean, and you know this, Eric. You're getting ready for it because you're adding the size, obviously. But it's like the difference between a regional show and a national show. I don't know that big of a gap, I think. Yeah. To place. I don't see how Kevin should beat him. Oh no, yeah. Kevin English is dog shit, man. I mean, he has a good physique. He had a decent. Kevin English had a freaky physique when he didn't turn into Branch Warren and get a bunch of injuries. But
yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that one too.
So, Eric, what's your plans? Is now an IFBB Pro? I mean, we're talking you the 212 class. You got any show in mind, possibly?
Honestly, well, my next show, I definitely want to do an exclusive 212 show. I mean, it's just, I think I'd get out muscled for sure. I mean, with those bigger guys, I'm about 5'4" on a good day. So, standing next to someone that's 5'7", 5'8" might be a little bit overbearing, But I mean, the biggest thing is obviously I want to accept the pro card. I want to compete at an exclusive 212 show, and it's like, some people say, well, can this kid get there, or is he going to be big enough? I mean, if you take it back a step, I've only been bodybuilding for 18 months. I mean,
how old are you?
You're an IFBB Pro in 18 months. Let's just throw that out there.
The past,
I'm 24 years old, so it's like, even from the Ironman games where I stepped on stage at 155, at USA's the cutoff is 64 and a quarter. That's already 10 pounds, and that scale was off. I mean, you could ask some of the bodybuilders, it was off. I mean, it was probably off by 4 pounds, so I was probably close to about 170 on stage,
Yeah.
So
if you
12 pounds in less than a year is a lot of weight. Clean weight too.
Now you're wondering who wasn't going to make weight at that contest, because I heard that about the scale too. I heard that a lot about the scale.
Yeah,
it didn't hurt anyone though. No one was complaining about it. So
no, yeah, exactly. So I mean, I stepped on the scale and I was like, well, I know for a fact because I woke up that morning heavy, and so I had to do some cardio to get that water off before the drive up there. And when I got up there, I was like, "There's no way I lost 7 pounds." I mean, from years of wrestling, I don't float that much weight, and I didn't pull that much water. Yeah. I didn't take a water pill or anything. I was like, I just sweated this morning, and I was like, I didn't lose 7 pounds. No way. So it was obviously off, Yeah. And then the other guys talking around the locker room or the backstage room that, hey, the scale, did you get on the scale? Was it off? And I was like, I guess. So
yeah, I heard the exact same thing. I heard the exact same thing about USA's.
I was thinking, with my coaches, obviously, I want to put on some size, some serious size. We don't want to do anything too drastic. We want to continue growing with the way I am because obviously it's working with my physique. We want to keep the shape.
Yeah, even the past couple months I'd seen him. Actually, I hadn't seen him in a while. And I saw him like, fuck, man. He got way more broad since the last time I saw him.
Yeah.
So just in a few months, he's gotten a lot bigger.
So, I know a lot of it's going to be maturity too. I honestly feel with what, we talking to my coaches, if I can consistently walk around, which I can, I can get up to above 200. If I could walk around at that weight, for several months, while staying in fairly good shape at 215, 220 pounds, for 4 months, 5 months, then my body will adjust to that, as opposed to doing a bulk and then all of a sudden I hit 210, 214, and then it's like, okay, 4 weeks to clean up the diet, then let's start a 13-week prep.
You might keep 1 pound of muscle.
Exactly. So if that was I really retaining and how much was it maturing, So I think that's the biggest thing is like if I, can actually maintain that weight for a while, then, man, I could really put on some size, And the biggest thing, too, is just that, honestly, with my shape and size, I don't necessarily have to be the biggest guy on stage.
Exactly.
Obviously we've seen with this Olympia too, Phil Heath's not bigger than Kai Green and Dennis Wolf.
Well, it's like I said, your back wasn't necessarily the biggest directly compared to Javon's, but because you had an overall package, which is what bodybuilding's about, the overall everything coming together. That's what matters.
It's really come up, and dude, I'm sure he was flat and everything like that. And he sent me a picture the other day of his back, and it was fucking freakish, man. Like, looked like
Javon just genetically, that's like his best attribute. That's what versus,
he's a cool dude too. Yeah. I met him down in San Diego too. He's pretty cool. He's a good guy too. Congratulate him.
He went. I hooked him up. What happened was he got second as a middleweight 3.5 weeks out. I looked at his photos because I've met him because he's friends with Marte, the guy who's the other IFBB Pro, and genetically he's got something going on there. That he could tap it, and so I hooked him up with Marte. I was like 3.5 weeks out. He had a fat ass, but not too fat. So I was like, man, like there's no fucking reason this guy. And he's like, I'm getting ready for middleweights for USA's. I'm like, there's no way this dude should be doing fucking middleweights. So I hit up Josh, Marte's coach, because I know he's friends with Marte. I was like, man, you need to hit this dude up. Like, there's like no reason. And so in 3.5 weeks, he went from at nationals, he got 16th place. He got second place at USA's at USA's. It was pretty dope. So
yeah. But he did the Fort Lauderdale, right? Out there in Florida?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know which one he did. I know nationals. He did nationals for sure, which is out in Florida. And then he did, I think it was a John Lindsay show because photos are hard to get. I don't know. But he did a show as a middleweight, But 3.5 weeks, woo! From second middleweight at a regional show to second at your weight class at the USA's, like, damn, man. So he should be interesting to see at nationals. He'll be an interesting one. But like Marte, for example, like we're talking about numbers, like he's probably like 220, and he's pretty solid in. Like the number I threw out there for him was 230, because it's like reachable, but man, is that gonna be fucking hard, But like if you can get there, and it's like I told him a fat man 6-pack, like where you're still in shape, you still have a 6-pack, but it's not contest, But like, no. And then you carry that, like. Whew. But I think you have a great plan, man. I think that's very realistic. How soon are you thinking about competing?
Well, if it depends on whether to keep it eligible or not. I'm in the process of emailing Jim Mannion.
Man, just get the card. Just get the card. You just paying their money, man. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Just accept the card because you don't have to compete within an X amount of time. They try to say, I've heard that rumor before. You don't have to do it. There's no, just take the card. I would take the card because why the fuck do you want to stay in the NPC?
Exactly.
But yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, check with them, of course, if you're already in the process. But if you're like planning what the heck the next phase of your life is going to be, because it's kind of a big step you're taking. I would say don't feel rushed. Don't feel rushed to compete just because of qualification stuff. You're a pro now. You can.
I'd say minimum a year. I would like 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards 2 years just because I got a good job. I'm on salary now. I'm a fitness manager at my club, so I'm managing the fitness department and stuff like that. My girl's got a good job too. So it's like we're in the process of getting our lives together.
And being stable, a stable bodybuilder. Oh my God.
Exactly. No, I mean, let's be honest. To get to the next level, there's a huge financial, decision.
It's an investment.
It's an investment. You're right. So if I can put aside X amount of money for my mortgage, my insurance, my house payment, or my car payment, whatever. Now here's my budget. I got $1,800 a month to spend on bodybuilding, or $600, whatever it may be.
Exactly.
At least and I can start putting away, or I can add to food and supplements, things like that. Whatever it's going to take. Even coaching, maybe. Maybe I need to get a bigger coach. From that, I don't know. I for whatever reason, it's working now.
Exactly. I think that's probably, it's scary how logical that statement is, because you don't hear many bodybuilders say that. I think a lot of guys are like, man, I'm going to fucking compete the next 212 show that pops up. I'm going to make money. And then they, what happens to them? They get blown out the water. Versus that's realistic. That's a very realistic plan I think you have.
And then honestly right now too, is just working out sponsorships and stuff like that. Because, the biggest thing is if I take that 2 years off, well, I don't want my face to disappear from the NPC or IFBB. Like, well, who's this kid? It could be cool, but at the same time, it's not marketable. Let's be honest. I'm a business major. Minor in marketing, stuff like that. So I cover all aspects. And political too. It's a little bit of politics in the sport too. So if people like you, that they have a calling for your physique and stuff like that. People admire it, man. It can go a long way too. So I don't want to completely disappear. So if I can get some type of sponsorship as well, where they are in support of. I mean, look at Dallas McCarver.
Yeah.
The kid hasn't competed yet, but he's still all over. The expos and magazines and stuff like that.
Doesn't he live with like some guy or something like that?
Look, here's. Wait. What were you saying?
Oh, this is like this guy that follows him around, and it's like,
man, look, anyone who can afford to turn pro at that size at that age, something's going on. What? I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just like, something's going on there. Like just I don't know.
But just like I said, it's an expense. And if I do it, I want to do it the right way. Like I said, I don't want to just be one of these guys. I don't consider myself just a bodybuilder. I'm just a meathead. Or we have to have, you got to be smart about this, especially if you want longevity in the sport. And I don't want to blow my load at 26 years old, 27 years old. When I'm not even,
exactly.
My body primed yet. Yeah. So you just want to do it smart. Take our time, and like I said, just take the necessary steps.
Yeah. Just, if you ever need some scary motivation, just look at Aaron Clark's face when he turned pro and then look at it like a few weeks ago. And just look at the transformation, man. It's fucking... man.
Yeah.
He get like the
Dude, he looks like 45 years old, man. Like, I like Aaron. Like, look, he's probably not going to fucking hear this. I'll just say it, man. Dude went from, looking like he's probably 6 months older than me, and maybe a year even. And he looked it. He looked like 6 months older than me. Give it a year. I look about a year older. He looks about 20 years older. Like, what the? And his physique, hey, don't get me wrong. Like, fucking, it's working. Something's fucking working, Yeah. But, man, like, to show that, like, and well, who else? Oh, man. The other heavyweight. I do, what's his name? Justin Compton. Justin Compton, he looks way better now. Because I feel like he's got his system down, but his initial transformation, when he first look at him at whatever show he turned pro at, and then you look at leading up to his rookie debut, and you're just like, whoa, you can tell there's a lot of androgens going on there, there's
Erik still sporting a full hairline, point that out.
Exactly.
It's crazy right now, but so how many top 10 Olympians have fucking hair? Dennis Wolf.
Jay Cutler had her. I think Jay Cutler's hair was real.
But
honestly, I was really impressed with the way Jay Cutler looked this year. He looks cool. He looks good.
Jay's a good dude.
Yeah.
Kai, he's okay.
Oh, dude. Kai's hair is gross. Kai's hair just grosses me out. I'm just like, oh.
Oh, seriously, if you look at the top 10, how many guys have hair? Probably all black and Dennis Wolf. But his shit's receding too. Actually,
hey, all fairness though, I know Ben is on fucking a tenth of the shit these guys are taking, and he's fucking bald too. So I think
no, exactly. It's a purely genetic thing.
Yeah. I think the brothers like to be bald too. Like if you and I do it, we look like skinheads, but I think they can pull it off more.
You gotta have a nice shaped head. If your shit's all, I got kind of like a cone head, so my shit.
I can't. Myself with a bald head though.
Yeah, sacrifices. Yeah. All right. Well, is there anything? What else? I don't know. Is there any people you want to shout out? Anything like that? Any way to contact you for training, stuff like that?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to, like I said, my coach, Eric Frapwell, down at Bakersfield Sports Nutrition. I feel like he doesn't get enough credit, man, and I try to bring him into the limelight as much as possible, because everyone's so impressed, like, oh my God, this kid turned pro at, 24 years old, his third show, whatnot. But my coach is only 20. He was 22 at the time. He just turned 23. So,
I got a couple pro.
And his name is Eric too. So it's like they call us, they used to call us the two kids. Like, what are these two kids up? So, and for him, man, and he's a really good guy, takes care of me and stuff like that. And isn't a coach that just asks me to do this, take this, take this, take this. Like I said, it's a mutual thing, and we both have the understanding of that. So I always want to give him thanks. Also, over here in Bakersfield, Damon Alvarez, he's a big part of my prep too. He helps me out. And then Mike Brown too. Both those guys.
Mike Brown, I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's also Bakersfield, a really nice guy. He's a natural competitor, and he's big, man. He's freakish.
He's another, like how you said, a freak of nature, man. If he were just to decide to do the NPC, man,
he's a very good bodybuilder, man. You look at him,
yeah. He probably walks around at what, like 225,
He's
maybe that's heaviest. He was like 235. So yeah,
it's kind of good.
And then I want to give a shout out to my sports massage therapist, man. It's all about, everyone always thinks about that heavy lifting and stuff like that, but I wouldn't be able to lift as heavy as I could and as consistently train as hard, man, if I didn't have all those kinks and stuff, worked on. Like you said, stretching, the whole stretching thing, and I was kind of like, well, it's not gonna help me build muscle, but actually it does. So I want to thank him, Manny Antonio, man. He helped me a lot.
Massage is good. I mean, remember it's kind of related, but Fairbanks like, I need to get a massage. At least, fascia or whatever.
Yeah,
Dusty gets a massage once a week.
I went to one of these places, and you could tell it was kind of sketch because it's like a doorbell and stuff. And then I rang it, and then
they start with a happy ending.
She's all golded up and like all this, Korean lady, and she says, it's $150 for. I was like, fuck, this is an expensive ass massage. And then got me kind of weird, like.
It's worth it.
And I got out of there because one of these times I went there with my buddy. He had turned, I don't know, it's like his birthday. That's fucked up, isn't it? This is Fairbanks Street. He's like, hey, I'm going to go to one of these massage places. I was like, well, he's like, can you come with? I'm like, why? What am I going to do, man? I don't want to. It's like, and him and this other guy both went in there. And I was sitting, there's a lounge area, not really a
waiting area.
Yeah, and I was watching TV.
Who's touched those magazines on the table? What is going on there?
Place oh, do you want a Coke and all this stuff? I was like, well, sure, And so I drink Coke, watch a little TV, and then they both came out. They're talking to each other, and they're like, man, did yours look sickly? Mine was like spots and stuff, and it's just coughing. I was like, my God, you guys are gonna get some serious Ebola type shit. But it's all should be legitimate massage, good thing.
A legitimate massage from a not gay man, and maybe if he's gay and he's good at his job, fuck it, whatever. Give me a discount.
But yeah, and then lastly, give a shout out, to my sponsors, Insane Industries. That's Mike Brown's company too, and then Bakersfield Sports Nutrition. Man, they both take care of me. Stuff like that. And, if anyone has any questions, trying to contact me as far as sponsorships on Instagram at Erik the Kid Martinez, IFBB Pro. So.
Awesome. Perfect. All right, man. Well, Dan, I think we can do all that stuff next episode, so we have some stuff to talk about already, but I think we got a good solid hour right now. Does that sound good?
Yeah.